So we're live and live on YouTube, guys. So feel free to join in if you want to join in. You can. You don't have to. Nobody's ever making you guys join. Again, still sitting here waiting on my Amazon orders. It should be in shortly, I think. I don't think it's even got to the shipped point yet, but it's slowly getting there. So I've got it set for my orders to come right to my apartment building. It's a little less hassle with the post office. But and strangers not walking off with other people's stuff. Which is a whole lot that goes on here in Wyerton for some reason. But anyhow, I just kind of thought I again, I bought myself some Pepsi today, guys. Usually I like drinking Coke. Little good time old teenage classics, guys. I will eventually get into the COVID-19 mask, making mask puppets, guys. Now, like I said, I may set the status a certain way, but around Christmas time, guys, when it says right now it's not Christmas, but when it, like, especially with it being Halloween, but when it closer to Christmas time, guys, I won't set no specific restriction, so everybody can come in. Also, I'm gonna have myself some burritos, guys. We're gonna pop high school style. Let's do it. I lost a few Doritos. Gotta watch the bottoms because the holes come out quick. Everybody hates that sound. Brings back the old, excuse me, the old high school memories. Right? Little tiny bags of Doritos. And I popped it from the bottom this time. Right? I just gotta get some more. I gotta buy some more frames eventually because I've got more pictures I've got to put up the back. So yeah, I'm just waiting on my Amazon order. I ordered a movie and book. And I'm waiting for it to come in. Not bad. It still tastes a little bit of fudge though. I'm going to show you guys, okay? My phone here. Now, it came from the Hunter's cabin. The phones are real phones, but they're not hooked up. But this one over here that I'm going to demonstrate, guys, is hooked up. This is the real phone. The others are real phones too, but they're not plugged in. This one is plugged in. Okay, so I can move that one forward. I guess at any time. I'll put that in there for now so I don't lose them. Those are my bills. It's the flyers. What else do I have to do? Put them there so I don't lose them. And that envelope. May move that screen back a bit. There we go. So I got everything set up the way I want it. I think I didn't lose you guys there for a moment. Sometimes I lose you guys. A lot of sweating. Oh, I'm going to show you my tattoos, guys, okay? So you know it's the real me, okay? I have a tattoo of First Nation of a sparrow and Celtic fish there. And there the heart's a little bigger, okay, on mine. But I got the same tattoo as my wife, but the heart's smaller on my wife. I have the same heart and wings, but my heart's bigger. And on this shoulder, I got a wolf. Okay. So I know sometimes if I'm wearing long sleeve shirts to protect my skin from getting burnt in the sun, my tattoos are normally covered. I cover them up. Long sleeve shirts. Sometimes in the summer, I'm out. You'll see me just in a body shirt or t-shirt. The tattoos are showing. So you know it's the real me, guys, because I am tattooed and marked. So people trying to pretend to be me, they won't have these specific tattoos. And they don't have these specific tattoos, they're not me. And the other thing is, right now, I never applied for a driver's license, so I don't drive. I never learned how to drive. So if they identify as me, but they show a driver's license, they're not me. Because I don't have a driver's license. I never went to learn. I got the handbook. I like reading now and then, but I never went for the test. I never went to go to actually proceed to go get a license. Maybe I should. I don't know. But since I'm not working at the dentist office Monday a week anymore, so yeah, technically I'm not working, so I'm unable to work. So yeah, I'm not going to be able to afford a driving license. Well, yeah, I can afford it now. I just the fact that it's every time I use my card, I have to pay back money, right? That's the only difference. Which I don't mind doing, but you know, I see it's the oil, gas, the maintenance, right? Mechanical work, the insurance, right? That's totally a heavy cost of driving. And then you get people like my wife in the front. If I had a driver's license, I don't, but if I did, you get people like my wife in the front seat telling you how to fucking drive. And she'd be driving you up the fucking wall, up another fucking dark alley. Sorry for the F-bombs, but she would. Because she's quick to dictate. And anything that distracts a driver, that does it. Why there's so many accidents on the roads? Because they got dictators in the front seat dictating to them and telling them how to fucking drive. Sorry for the F-bombs again. The passenger doesn't realize they're just a passenger. Your job is to shut the hell up and enjoy the friggin' ride. You don't tell the driver what to do. Don't care if you're married to the driver or not. You don't tell the driver wherever to go and how to do it. The driver has control of the car. You don't distract them like that. But yes, majority of people take passengers in their car, and then they get these passengers and they tell them how to drive and everything, right? That's the number one thing where the driver's going to get annoyed with. And sit your ass out on the side of the road. Leave you sitting there. Leave you figuring out how you got there. And he or she ain't coming back to pick you up. They gone their own merry way. So yeah, so that is your comedy for today. That's what happens when you start telling the driver how to drive. Driver knows how to drive because the driver took the license, took the test, got all his his or her graduated license, been driving on the road for years. I think they know what they're doing. But where they're going. I should. You don't need no passenger in the back seat or people in the front seat dictating to tell them how to drive unless they're a designated driver because they're new at their license. They have to have a designated driver. That is different. But if it's in a driving instructor or a teacher, that's different. If it's an everyday welfare Joe, no, you don't have to listen to him. I'll tell you, or her. They don't know what they're talking about. So yeah, so there's a bit of comedy there for you today. That's just an example, guys, because I will do a bit of and yes, I will try to keep the F-bombs out as much as possible. Okay, especially around Christmas time and it's open to everybody. I know it's a hard thing to do, you know, when you get going with the comedy and when I get going with the comedy jokes or whatever like that, you know, they flow its own direction and its own time, right? I get comical from the top of my head, or you know, they say, you know, say comedy jokes come flying out, right? The F-bombs come out with it. Can't help it, especially if you have a lot of brewskis in you, and you have a lot of GD in you, or whatever, right? You're having a good old time. You know, don't mind my sweater, guys. That I have. Okay, it's got biker symbols on it. Okay, it doesn't mean that I belong to a motorcycle group because I don't. My uncle, one of my uncles did for years, but that's not me. But just because I've got a biker sweater on or I've got a biker hat on, right? That stuff you can buy at any corner local convenience store, flea market, right? The odd yard sales that they're selling them off, right? So people buy it, they're going to wear it because that's the style, the way young people today dress, right? Doesn't mean they're running with any bikes, motorcycle organization or operation or gang, whatever you want to call it. Okay? It's no different than non-native people wearing Every Child Matters shirt. You know, or non-Indigenous people supporting the residential schools, right? That's great they are, but it's not really their problem to get involved in. It's between the Indigenous people and the government. But then you got non-Indigenous people wearing it and supporting the Native people. You know, nothing wrong with that. But, well, it's the same thing when it comes down to biker clothing. Okay, any Joe Blow can go to any pawn shop and buy biker clothing, or they can, you know, go to any flea market buy biker clothing. I've had mine for years. I've got a Harley Davidson shirt in the other room. I bought years ago. Right, and they don't belong to Pacific Club. I still see. The reason why I have a Hell's Angels tattoo is because my uncle was the head of the Hell's Angels um, for years when he was alive, since he was 16 years old. That's what qualified me because I'm a nephew to a late Hell's Angel. Um, that's why I was a lot. That's why they approved me for to get the Heart of Wayne tattoo, one of their tattoos, because it is their symbols, one of their symbols. Uh, but because I'm a nephew too, what or their head grand president, right, who passed away with lung cancer was my uncle. But he used to run with the Montreal chapter, the Peterborough chapter for years. Um, so one of their tattoo artists in Peterborough, I bought it from, right? And he was okay with it because he knew my uncle. But and this other one is a native one, like it's a Celtic Gypsy native tattoo, Celtic. And then on this one I have a wolf. So you know, it did cost me a large sums of money. Over time, yes, I'm thinking about getting one more done. I don't know what I'm going to get done yet, but I have to look in their book, see what they have. I'll probably buy one from out of the books, out of their actual book magazine. Um, but because now I live in Byerton, right? Byerton here does not have a tattoo artist, does not have a tattoo shop, which we should have. We have a weed store. You might as well let in a tattoo shop and studio, right? You might as well. Um, Goes along with the weed store. Even though I don't do drugs, I don't do weed, I don't smoke. I'm not a smoker. Um, I've been accused falsely of being a smoker, and I don't smoke. Um, Keep your eyes on that. That is defamation of character to accuse somebody of smoking when they don't smoke. Somebody like me who's not a smoker, and you make that allegation, I legally have grounds to sue you or charge you if I wanted to. Um, because your definition of charactering me, saying that I'm a smoker when I don't smoke. Never smoked a day in my fucking life. Um, Even all through high school, I never did weed because back in that generation, marijuana was classified as drugs. I was taught to stay the hell away from it because when I was growing up in the 1990s, and all the police officers I knew in the 1990s, right? Back in the 1990s, all they're just young rookies today. Back in the 1990s, yeah, marijuana, weed was illegal. Even a doctor, it was illegal for a doctor to even prescribe it for medical purposes because it was a legal substance. You're caught with even a nugget, you could have been picked up or been criminally persecuted. Of possession, nowadays it has to be a certain quantity before they can nail a person, something like that. I hear, but since because there's all this legalization crap, but these apartment buildings are doing the smart thing because they still get around it. They they still sticker and label it under the non-smoking bylaw. So yes, in a way, they still know how to nail people with it. So they still have their sneaky ways to keeping it illegal. So it's still not 100% legalized as all these potheads think it is, right? Wow, you have a green card. Whippy do, so do I. It's called a fucking credit card. We all have them. But that doesn't make you freaking Harry Potter, I'll tell you. Just because you're a pothead and you think, oh, you got a one-way ticket into Hogwarts School of Witchcraft. Yeah. You're doing hippie grass, you're doing weed, you're doing witchcraft. That's how we used to put it in the 1990s. And the hippies used to say the same thing when they were into it. I don't do that crap. But I'll tell you, that's the way they used to put it, right? Because it was the hippies in the 60s that invented that stuff. I'll tell you. They're just like the idiot that invented the telephone, Mr. Graham Alexander Bell. Which there's a man that should have been shot by a Nazi right there. Because the day he invented the telephone, yes. It's been a nuisance. It's a pain in the tush. People used to like it back in the days before the telephone was even invented. Right? It was safer times. But if he didn't invent the telephone, you wouldn't have walkie-talkies, CB radios, right? Cordless phones, cell phones. We wouldn't have holes in our pockets. We wouldn't have all these barrels, right? That's the evil side of inventing the telephone. To grab your money. Because, well, again, it was a business. We wouldn't have these fancy buzzer systems, right? We have today. I'll tell you. But yes, when I don't have a restricted status set or whatever, and I'm doing Christmas Elf Lounge around Christmas time, I will definitely have to control my comedy, and I'll try to control my F-bombs. Now, Christmas Elf Lounge, any other time of year, guys, is when I do Christmas Elf Lounge, I personally keep the alcohol offset because that's open to everybody. There's not a restricted setting. Most times, if we're going to have like a bottle of Jackie's on here or whatever, it has to be set to restricted to anybody under 18 years old. But nowadays with social media, you can't follow in if you're under 18 years old. You have to be 18 years old. Even to be in the live video, you have to be over 18 years old. That's another thing I was getting annoyed with the TikTok company, because they announced that there's to be nobody in their videos under 18 years old. All these videos came across my For You page. I see kids in the videos all the time, on their live streams, under 18 years old. People are running their individual TikToks, making their individual TikToks, are not following the community standards of their guidelines. They got kids on their channels, in their videos. Now, personally, I always said if the parents are in there with them, right, I don't personally see it as being a problem. But TikTok enforced the guy at TikTok that owns TikTok enforced all these laws and rules and says, no. There's to be no kids imaged at all on live social media on TikTok. People were not abiding by. They weren't listening, that they don't listen to. And then their violations is attacking innocent bystander accounts like mine, where I don't have children on my channel. But on the For You page, you see people with babies on there that are way under 18 years old. And you can tell they're not 18 years old. Right? They're imaging children. When the guy at TikTok or ByteDance itself had said, no, this isn't allowed, that's not allowed. Right? That they actually notify on the top of the live screen, okay, no one should be allowed in the videos under 18 years years of age, or it's an automatic violation of the community standards or guidelines. Where half these welfare fucking Joes don't listen, right? They think they're above and overpower everybody. They think they're above the freaking law. All these people are. I know. I have a wife. She acts like that at times too. I know she gets on my nerves over that. But I'm not going to go there. But yeah, I know. Sometimes they can pain in their asses, but what, you know, nothing you can do about that. Or a couple of times on my For You page, you know, I've watched it live, some people's live streams, and I thought it was an interesting live stream, and not just curiosity, right? To be polite, not in caps, not to be rude. I'm not a bully or nothing like that. I just asked curiosity. I just asked the live host how old they were. One admitted she was only 15 years old. I'm like, what the hell are you doing on live TikTok social media when you know you have to be 18 years old and older? You know, when it specifies that right on the damn screen when you go live, right in your box, TikTok sends it right to your to your chat box. See, this is why I said people don't follow their contract, their social media contract that they agree to. Right? They don't follow the rules. They don't follow the regulations. They don't abide by the rules and regulations and laws of that contract, no matter if it's volunteer or it's an employment contract. It's still a contract of an agreement. These people don't follow it, and they don't give a shit. I citizen bystanders that actually do follow it, respect it, are the ones that they throw their violations on us for no reason at all. Make us look bad. That's what I get sick and tired of. And I'm not doing anything wrong. But they're the actual accounts that are doing the violations. Where they're supposed to be going. But, like I said, I don't get into that. That's why I said the guy that owns TikTok, he's not all there in the head. He doesn't have he can't maintain proper security on his platform. Of course, it's not Canadian owned. It is foreign owned. It is Chinese owned. You know, coming through a Canadian network or an American network. You know, he doesn't keep law and order on his platform at all. He is allowing the wrong source of people on his platform, because I've had a lot of those wrong source of people attacking me, bullied me, they threatened me, they stole photos of me, they snapshot pictures of me, they made up fake accounts pretending to be me. They started to get argumentative with me. They started threatening me. He's allowing pedophiles and predators on his fucking on his platforms on TikTok that come through, because you don't have to be on anybody's specific list for them to come through. They can come through publicly. You know, there's Autobots that all come through, right? Then you got a whole big mess, right? You know, when I try to keep my platform safe as possible, right, for everybody, and then calling me by a name I don't identify by, which is not my name, when I'm specifically under my real birth given name on there. It says right on the top, like I do on everything. Facebook, I don't go by a fake made up name. I I put my real birth name first. That I've been assigned to at birth, and the Gypsy Rover is just a summer childhood camp nickname amongst friends, because that's my title, right? That's just a title. But my birth given name is before that, right? Because my birth given name is Timothy Scott, playing Timmy for short. My name isn't Robert. I don't know where they come up with that shit. Because they get in there, they get talking about all these other people and go on about these other people. They start calling me Robert. They start calling me this and that. And yes, that's that. When you call somebody by the wrong name like that they don't identify by, or someone else's name, not only does it piss off the other person, it pisses me off as well. Because I know lots of Roberts. I've got an Uncle Robert in Toronto. They're still around today. And they may think these people are talking about them, right? They don't get it through their head. That's not a joke. To disrespect somebody's biological, to disrespect my sure given name, right? No matter if you're a normal born male like myself, or a natural female, or if the person's trans, right? They tell you, they specifically, whatever their profile is assigned to 10-1, their real name is on there, that they want to be called, that's what you call them. You don't call them anything else by any other name. Right? You don't disrespect the person. Because then what you're doing is you're false identifying that person. Right? And you're degrading that person. And you're disrespecting that person's biological birth name. This is why I don't like the idea that these platforms allows you to register the platform for the actual platform itself under a fake name. I disagree with that. I think they should be made to register their real name on here, so we know, and their real date of birth, so we know who people are. Right? When they're under fake names, or they come up with copyright movie fucking names, right? Or they pretend they're actors, or celebrities when they're not. Now there's difference between cosplay, performing theater that I do, but that's different. But I don't put it as my profile name, because then I know we're not allowed to do that. I put my real birth given name on it, is what people should be doing. They shouldn't be allowed to put fake names on there, because if they put fake names up there, then it's legally considered a fake account. Or this idea that they don't put photos of themselves up. Right? And you don't know who the hell they are. They're not identifying themselves, especially when they're on a digital audio computer system. Nobody identifies themselves like I do. So you know the real people behind those accounts, because you don't know they could be fake people behind there, right? Some of the things you want to watch out for. Of course, nowadays, yeah, they people out there. They counterfeit everything. Hey, like anybody can buy police cars, police badges, uniforms off of Amazon nowadays and pass themselves off as anything they want. They can make up fake documentations, right? To pretend they're a professional when they're not. They can sticker up their cars. That's why I said, even today, we don't even take the real police officers seriously, because we say, how do we know you did not buy that half your shit off of Amazon? Because Amazon sells that shit. You can go to any army surplus store and you can buy that shit. You could have for years. You can buy police uniforms, military uniforms, badges. That's why it's called an army surplus store. No different. Knives, guns, handcuffs, shit like that. Pepper spray, you all buy from an army surplus store. The same shit that would be issued to them when they go into the career, or would be issued to them right out of the armory. Cars, sirens, stickers, right? They can go to any armory QM. I know I've been through Army cadets. I've seen inside of a military QM. I know what they carry and armor they carry. Police uniforms. Places all full of police. You go down to armories. Okay, you go to the QM because I worked one when I was in Army cadets. When I was about 14 or 15. I joined it when I was 13. I was in Air cadets. In my teenage years, you should see all the civilian police uniforms in there, all their badges in there, for every police unit, community police unit, OPP, everything, military police, RCMP, right? You can go to the local armory, and they can buy it out of there for their job profession because it supplies the police station, it supplies everything, shield guards, everything. It fits everybody. Right, in those professions, and the military. So you got to watch because these counterfeit guys could be ex-military guys, probably not a part of the profession at all, and they can get their hands on that kind of stuff, right? Because when they're in the military, they buy it up, they collect it, and then when they leave it, right, if they survive it or leave it, right, they can pass themselves off as anything afterwards because they bought it up while they were in the military, right? Because you can go in any local armory and you can buy this crap, right? Again, all it takes is for them to run their credit card. Boom. No matter how high their limits are. Kilts, bagpipes, right? An armory QM supplies all that, or sells all that. These army surplus stores, they sell and distribute all that. Go to military sale, you can buy all that up. I worked a lot of military sales when I was in cadets. You see all the shit you can buy there. I'll tell you, right down to police equipment, police uniforms of every department in the world. Militaries from every department in the world, kilts, right? Bagpipes, guns, ammo. I found out enough air shows, military shows when I was in cadets. So in this generation, you really can't take these police officers seriously. There's a reason why people don't. Is because they don't know if they've gone to these military shows or they've gone to these armory QMs, or even if the guys in the military they could buy that crap up from any local armory or out of any armor motor pool garage off of any military base. Stick it up on a military base and drive it off, right? Same with badge numbers or whatever. These armories, what supplies their equipment and outfit is your local armory. Not their police station. It's the military armory that suits them up, that supplies their equipment. They go through base CFB Trenton, Ottawa, Blackdown Wood, just like the military guys. They got their police equipment right there in the QM. That's why it's called a quartermaster. It's where they all go to buy the shit that they're going to need for their job, right? Or their profession. If something happens, they get fired or they retire or whatever, yeah, they still have that because they have to purchase it, they have to buy it, or it's been distributed to them, or what you call inventoried out to them, supplied to them when they were taking the course or whatever. And half these guys never give that shit back. I know some of the cadets, when they quit cadets, they do the same thing. They keep their shit. They don't send it back. I always sent my stuff back, but half these cadets, no, they don't. Or they get too old for it. They don't hand any shit back. Neither does their families. So, all I ever bought was a photo of me being in cadets. That will hang up in the back that I still have. A photo of me when I was Army cadets, it was taken of me. But as far as uniform parts, yeah, you're supposed to hand them back when you leave cadets. But anything that touches your head or your skin, yes, they don't take back. Or sometimes they're nice enough to say, okay, keep your ranks, you've earned them, or your epaulets, right? Or your cap badges. My mom always kept mine, but stuff they're at their end, they didn't want to take back. But the rest of the uniform, oh yeah, they took it all back. That kind of stuff. Anything that touches your feet or skin, or badges you might have earned, they won't take back. But if it's like the tunic or it's the parade belt, the holsters, or it's like a set of bagpipes or whatever, yeah, you got to hand those back, right? That's how QM works. When you get out of the cadet system, and a lot of these families they don't do that. When I left cadets, I handed all that stuff back. But some of these other families they don't, right? Because why? They're totally welfare families putting kids into it. Nella, hey, sweetie. That's probably why now they got a dry cleaning fee. Now, when you put your kids into it, you got to pay a dry cleaning fee, or a joining fee now. Or they'll ask you for a dry cleaning fee of $100 or $150 now when you enlist your kids into cadets now. So if your kid leaves cadets, if they get anything back in bad shape, right, that's not well looked after, and they have to sterilize it, then they're going to charge you for that. Or if it is, or they also call it a recovery replacement fee. So if you don't return nothing when your kid leaves it, guess what? That money goes to pay for the loss of it, right, of their property. That's probably why now they're becoming such a business from when I was in it. I know when I was in Army Cadets and Air Cadets, you didn't have to pay to join Air Cadets or Sea Cadets or Army Cadets. Now, in this generation, you do, right? Because you've got to make sure, when you put your kid into it, you're paying the captain in the office. When your kid joins it, you got to pay him like a good $100, $200 at first, because that covers the cost of the uniform or whatever they supplied to you out of the QM. Because if your kid quits or your kid wants to get out of it at any point in time, it does go up to the real thing, but gets out of it, yeah, it's their way of replacing their stuff, money to cover their stuff. So what they do is they take it out of the families and put their kids into it. That's what they do now. It's an insurance fee thing that you got to pay out, or security fee you got to pay out. So if they don't get anything back, right, because the kid leaves it and the family doesn't return anything, they got your money to cover it. They all do it. Even the Canadian Armed Forces, when you enlist, they do the same thing. Before they accept you, if they're ready to accept you, they will ask you for a security deposit fee of some so much, either between $200 to $500. So if you for some reason get discharged or you quit, and you don't return nothing, guess what? They got your money to replace what they lent out to you. And on top of that, they're probably going to go after you. QM. Basically, yes, they're making you pay up front when you join it to buy it outright. Because they know when your kid gets out of it or the person gets out of it, they ain't going to get their shit back from a lot of people. So they're making you pay for the money up front for it. That's what they're doing. They're making sure they're getting the money. So there's no loss. There's no loss in the deal. End of it. The Orangemen do the same thing. They don't have a QM system anymore like they used to have, that they just supply it. No, they make you buy it. They make you buy it because they know if something happens that you resign or you get out of it, they know you're not going to bring the shit back, right? So they're not going to put anything on loan to you. They're going to make you pay for it. They're going to make you buy it outright from them. That's why they charge you money all the way through. I know a lot of Christians with the Orangemen who are Protestant, because I grew up as a Protestant. I was in the Orange Lodge from 1996 to 2023. Then after that, I resigned. My lodge closed under. I never joined another one. I probably can't now, because after I got married, yes, I converted. I was made to convert to the Catholic Church, take the RCIA course. And because of that, yes, the Orange Lodge is not going to take me back, definitely, right? I'd have to go further up into the Masonic, into the mixed. But they do the same thing, okay? You join it, you pay to join it, you get accepted, okay? They don't run a QM system anymore. None of these places do. They do, but they don't. But their QM consists of you buying things outright now. Means you have to pay money outright for it. So if something happens, you quit it, you get out of it, right? They don't have anything loaned out to you. You have to buy it outright. So technically, it is yours to own because you have to pay the money outright for it. Because they know if the person is going to resign after a while, their stuff isn't going to come back. People are not going to return nothing. Very few will, but most won't. Majority won't. So they don't have, their QM system has changed. If they still have one, it is a paid system now. It means it's like a store. You go in, you need uniform parts, you need regalias for your meetings or whatever, or your degrees or uniforms for the military, or even your badges now. When you earn them, you got to pay for them. Your medals, you got to pay for them. Somebody has to pay money outright for you for them, because if you resign it, right? If it's just on loan, they know they're not. It's not. If it's something you earn, that's different. But if it's like uniform parts or whatever, ever like that, and they know that they're not going to get back, they're not going to get it back from people, right? So they don't want to be lending that crap out for nothing. Even when people come out of law school or they get their degrees, okay, and they go into the police department, same thing. They got to buy from their local QM department, right? It's not on loan anymore. They got to pay for a lot. Every little piece of equipment, uniform, everything, right down to the badges. They got to pay money out for it. It's not just lent out to them anymore, because if they resign or quit or get fired, right? They know that the people ain't going to hand nothing back, right? So they don't want to be lending that crap out for free. They got to make it. They got paid for. They got to pay money out for it now. They got to go into the QM. They have to provide a signature, and then you got to pay money for it. So technically, it's theirs to own. So that way, there's no loan system on the stuff or the equipment. So that way, in the long run, they're not losing anything, right? So it's easier for them, for the next person, to replace stuff in the QM, to order new stuff, and that they do the same thing with all the new people there. They charge their families money now. The moment I'm joining. Hockey has always done that with hockey equipment, right? You notice when you join ice hockey league, you got to pay for your own shit. This is why they don't lend it out to you no more, because they know if the person quits, he ain't gonna get it back. That's a good $1,000, $15,000 grant going out on hockey equipment. Same karate or whatever. Yeah, you got to pay for your crap now. Every belt you go through, you got to pay for it. Your uniform, everything, you got to pay outright. They don't just give it to you. They don't lend nothing out to nobody no more. You got to pay money out now. Because they know if you resign or to quit, they know that their shit's not going to come back, right? People ain't going to return nothing. That's why they have the money they make off of it. They put back into ordering new stuff for their club or their organization. And every person that joins now, they pay a joining fee to join it, to belong to it. And on top of that, they got to pay for everything, right? Everything individually themselves, right down to the uniform parts, everything that you kind of need. They got to buy it all outright. You have to pay for it. And it's not just lent out to you anymore like it used to be when I was a teenager. In those days, yes, it might have been like cadets was free to join. Now it would nowadays probably this generation no. It's not a free thing to join. It's like any other service club or club for teenagers or whatever. They make you pay to belong to it. You have to pay a yearly membership, a yearly fee of $100, maybe $200. And then on top of that, you probably have to pay out for your own uniform supplies, everything. Means you probably have to buy your teenager their own shit. Scouts has become the same way, right? Compared to when I was a kid, because there's too many people when I was a kid that ruined that. Used to take advantage of that. There's too many families and kids that took advantage of that. And then when they would all quit, and they wouldn't return nothing, right? I was lent out to them. So the groups lost money on those kids. So nowadays, yes, he got smart. Nowadays, they make you pay for shit now. Up front when you join, when you put them in it, when you join it. Or they make you purchase your own equipment, make you purchase your own stuff. That's what they do now. They don't lend anything out nowadays like they used to. You see so little of that. Even if you'd have joined the Salvation Army, you became a soldier of the Salvation Army, yeah, you gotta buy your own stuff now. They make you send away to buy your own uniforms. They make you send away to, um, if you're in the band, you gotta buy your own instruments, right? They're getting to the point now they don't supply nothing. They don't want to. The QM systems change where you actually have to pay money for it. Because they know that it's the people ain't going to return stuff. I've always anything I brought, I always returned it. But there's people out there that's not like me. There's people out there that'll take advantage of stuff, right? Especially if it's an outfit like the Salvation Army is full of welfare people, right? What does welfare people want to do, right? They're going to use the place, right down to the ground, right? They're going to take advantage of it. Why? They're everyday welfare Joes, right? It's that kind of outfit. It's that kind of ministry. They're going to use the place. They're going to take advantage of the place. Are they going to take anything that's going to give them a free handout? Or are they going to take stuff from there that don't belong to them? That's what these welfare people do. I don't do stuff like that. But that's what these welfare people do. I know. I used to live in a townhouse full of these kind of people. Complex. For years growing up. And I can tell you exactly what they're like. How sneaky they're like. This is why these outfits or these service clubs now, they don't lend anything out when it comes down to supplies or uniforms when you belong to it. You pay to belong to it, and you pay for every little thing outright out of your own pocket. If you can't afford it, you don't belong to it. They don't accept you. If you tell them, oh, you can't afford, you want to belong to it, but you can't afford it, they'll say bye-bye. They don't want you because they know you're going to take advantage of them. Until you have money to support yourself through it, or pay your own way through it, or buy everything outright yourself, they won't accept you for membership. They won't accept your kid in anything because they're afraid of getting taken advantage of. They're afraid of getting ripped off because too many people rip them off. That's why the Orange Lodge is not like it used to be. If you qualify to belong to it, like I did, like they lent me collars, but when I left it, they lent me a tie, they lent me a collar, the books. When I left it, I handed it back to the worshipful master. Took it to his house and handed it back to him. Right? I had respect to return his stuff that he lent out to me while I was in it, because it was only on loan while I was in it, even though I earned it. Right? He said I could have kept it because I earned it. I said no. I handed it back to him. Right? So he could re-let it out to somebody else that was in it. Right? Because I took a leave of absence. I resigned. I didn't keep anything of it because I didn't buy it I didn't purchase it myself with my own money. I paid to belong to the group, but he lent me the lodge lent me the collars and that, and I returned it. But there is people, what I'm saying is there's people that get into it, that leave it, and they don't return nothing that's lent out to them. This is why nowadays, now they make you buy your own. So once you join it, you got to go to their events, their parades, and you got to meet up with their vending guy at their vending table, and you got to buy your own. You got to buy your own stuff. Before you're initiated in, you have to pay the initiation fee. The membership fee has to be paid up, and any callers you earn, you got to pay money out front for it now. It's not on loan. So that way, when they put that collar, when you're in that collar, regalia collar around your neck, you're paying for ownership of that collar. They ain't lending it to you now. And if you don't have money to get past the application point, you don't have money for the initiation or your first degree, or you don't have the money to pay for the collar, because that's what you're paying for, it's bye-bye. The group don't accept you. There's a thing called they decline you or they blackball you on the spot. They disapprove you from membership instantly until you have the money. Even if that means you got to vacuum their rugs, scrub their toilets to earn the money that they give you for working there, and then give it back to them to belong to the club. They don't give you anything for nothing no more. And it's not free to join anymore, like it was at one time, or like it would have been when I was a teenager. Right? Nowadays, it's all changed. And there's a reason why it changed. It's because other people have ruined it. For other people. I can honestly say that. That's not what my show is supposed to be about today, but I just want to share that this is why the road it goes down the way it goes down. So if you join a club, even in high school, when it started when I was in high school, after close to my end time of high school, it started. When I was in high school, you could join anything you want for free, and they supply this and that to you for nothing. Yeah, nowadays they don't. In this generation, they don't. And the kids in high school today, they're coming home to their parents saying, I have to have money to belong to this club or that club, or this club ain't supplying nothing. Because they got to pay for it. Their parents got to pay out money. And as a public school, they got to pay out money for the kid to belong to a certain club in high school, or to belong to a certain sports league. Their parents now, it's not free in the curriculum anymore, right? No, it's separate from the school curriculum. They got to pay to belong to the freaking thing. They want to belong to a marching band. It's no longer part of the high school teaching curriculum. Their families actually have to pay out money for them to belong to it, separate from the school. It's become a business. Why? Because the welfare kids have ruined shit, and their families. Because they get into it, they don't work out, they leave it, they don't return nothing. And that ruins it for the future kids, right? So nowadays in this generation, that's why this generation, you'll find all these groups now makes money off the families. They make the kids pay for everything. Then they got to go bug their parents for the money. The parents get notifications that their kid wants to belong to something in school, right? But they got to pay to belong to it. That's not part of the school system. because they don't realize that the other kids have ruined it. Or their families have ruined a lot, right? Have taken advantage of the system. Why the system changes compared to when I was growing up, I'll tell you. Or anybody I went to school with will tell you what it was like, how different it was like when we went to school, and when we went to cadets or scouts, right? On how this day and age, how it's different. Too bad things couldn't stay like it was in the 1990s in this generation for the kids in this generation. Because this generation of kids would have loved when I grew up in the 1900s. He would have loved those years growing up in those generations instead of this one. Because us kids who grew up in the 1990s, we had it better, really, than the kids have it today. Or some people think today kids have got it better today because things are more easier, easy access, more digital. Where in our generations, things would have been harder. But we could prolong stuff back in the 1990s, and there was no money exchange involved in joining anything. But like there is to this generation, like you see today, right? That's just why things, times have changed. Why policies and that have all changed. Because what a lot of kids were doing back when we were growing up, what the kids were like in our generation, they take advantage. Some of the other kids would take advantage of stuff. And their families would take advantage of the whole entire system. And would rip it off, right? I mean, personally, I was never about that. I never did that, but I went to school with kids that did that stuff. I'll tell you. I'm not proud of going to school with those kind of kids. I'll tell you. Those kids are my age today that I grew up with because we were the same age, or maybe they were younger than I was today. They see the way the system is like today, right? And they got kids today, or they don't like paying this and that much money out for the kids to belong to clubs and stuff, right? Because the times have changed. Because this time and generation is not like our generation when we were kids. This is nowadays it's more of a money making generation, right? That we're in today. More business oriented. Oh. That's how these times are different compared to the times I grew up in. Um, things were different when I was growing up compared to today. Totally. I'm 43. I'll be 44 in October. Um, so yes, I'm halfway middle aged, but I can't help it if I still have a young look to me. That's never going to change, right? I'm just not as aging as quick, like most people, right? It's pretty bad when you got 35-year-olds that are younger than me looking like they're fucking 60 years old. And you can see it right in their face. And their skin is aging too fast, too quick, too early, too young. Well, I'm being hit with chronic arthritis in my lower spine. It's going through my spine at a young and early age than it should, even because it runs in my family. But on my mom's side, I wasn't expecting, because I was walking fine without a cane up till this year. And I started to develop chronic arthritis pain, and my scoliosis started getting further. So I started to develop chronic pain a lot quicker. Too early, too young. So physically, medically, I'm changing, right? It's too quick all of a sudden. But am I aging in the face? No. Or the skin? No. I'm aging in numbers, but I'm not physically aging. But yeah, I just wanted to do a quick live stream, guys. I just wanted to explain how the times I grew up and these times, why they're different today than when I grew up. A lot of people weren't understanding all of a sudden why there's all this change, right? Compared to our generation growing up. Why it didn't stay the same on a lot of levels. That we expected it, should have, or we thought would have. Didn't. It's just not so today. New times, new generation, new ways of doing things. You know, everything today is a total business operation, right? The way things were in the 1990s are not like that today. For this generation of kids, it didn't stay the same. It's all changed. All 100% changed. It's a lot of it's become, basically, you put it, is become a total money making business. I mean, somebody in the long run is profiting, somebody's making money. That side of these groups and organizations. Right down to a lot of these churches that run these after school programs or whatever. Right? I remember when I was a kid growing up, they were all free to join. Not today. They're going to put a hole in your pocket. It's a big money grab today. You're paying for every little thing. Today it's a business. Makes money. Like a good friend of mine always said, or a good friend of my uncle's always said, ask grass, no rice for free. Means you pay your own fucking way in life. And if you can't pay your own fucking way in life for anything, you're useless. That's what that means. Everybody, all the rest of us had to pay our own way through freaking life. It's not fair to the ones that just get everything just handed to them, right? On a silver freaking platter. No way. All the rest of us had to struggle, pay out holes in our pockets, or pay our own way in life. I mean, it should be equal. So should everybody else, right? It should be no favoritism. That's why a lot of people believe that even this community living having this respite program system, right? Passport respite money system. People don't agree with, because the rest of us had to struggle without it for years. Can't get it, right? And we lived our life paying our own way through life. And a certain group of people just get everything handed to them on a silver platter, right? They don't have to pay their own way for nothing. Like, that's not fair to the rest of us that have struggled, that have to pay our own fucking way for everything all through life, that worked hard for what we have. I'll tell you. But I know in these days there's not much you can do about it. And it's no different than, somebody new coming to our country from another country, right? Emigrates over, and yeah, they get everything handed to them on a silver platter. They don't have to pay taxes, nothing. They come into our country, they get free shit. You might as well give it to them for freaking free. You might as well, right? Because who's paying their taxes? We are. Is that fucking fair? No, it isn't. They can run a tax-free business. They can drive cars right off our lots without paying taxes. They can own houses without paying taxes. They can own property without paying taxes. But us Canadian people is paying these immigrants fucking taxes. It's not right. That comes off our income tax at the end of the friggin' year. But that's why we always said we felt an invasion. We didn't want them here. It's not that we were being hateful, not that we were being racist towards them. We just felt they don't belong here because they come here and they've taken everything away from our people, our own Canadian people, right? They take businesses, right? Where our own Canadian people have to pay taxes to run their businesses. People have to pay taxes for their own homes, mortgages for their own homes. We pay taxes on our rent, right? These immigrants, aliens, or whatever you want to call them, that come into our country, they get everything handed to them. You might, like I said, you might as well not charge them any money at all. You might as well just give it all to them for free. I tell you. Because they're halfway to that point. And the ones that are paying out all the money to keep them here is us Canadian people or American people. Because they come here, they take our jobs, they take everything, right? These help wanted signs are not for us Canadian people. If us Canadian people go into a place to apply for a job on a help wanted sign, they won't hire us. No, they'd rather hire somebody from the Sudan or hire somebody from fucking China or hire somebody from the Middle East, right? Foreign people. With my disability condition, I can't work anyways, but because I'd be in too much chronic pain. But and several disabilities, mental health disabilities I'm diagnosed with. But if I was able to, yeah, they wouldn't hire me because you know who would they hire over above me? They'd hire an illegal immigrant coming from another country, coming into the country. Is who they'll hire. Where the restaurant owner or the business owner would have to pay out less taxes on their employment wages, and then they work less they would be paid less than minimum wage or work for less than minimum wage. So that's us Canadian people and American people. will not work below the minimum wage. We want a straight up deal. Up front. Or fuck you. That type of attitude. We're not like these foreign immigrants that will work for 20 cents a fucking day. Right? No, if you want us Canadian people, if we have jobs, oh yeah, we want a good 600 grand salary. Like holy shit, every 2 weeks. We're not gonna work like they do in their country, right? You know, 25 cents don't go far. That doesn't even buy you a lollipop at the store. And you know, us Canadian people are not going to be free labor, right? We're an immigrant from another country, so used to free labor or bondage, or if you want to call it, or slavery. They're so used to it, they come here. Our government says, oh, okay, yeah, we'll keep slaving them. And all we have to pay them is 30 cents a fucking day. Hey, Nella. They're happy, they're content. Are they going to share a piece of bubble gum around their family? Because that's all they're going to buy with 25 cents. Today it's probably 75 cents because of taxes. Oh, yeah, the immigrants, I forgot, they don't pay taxes. That's probably why that's probably why they get them all to drive for Amazon, because Amazon pays them on commission, not minimum wage, which is way below minimum wage. Because I remember when I in the big city when I was a teenager, I was driving for Dickie D ice cream. The bikes, that's all we get was even us Canadian people were being paid immigrant fucking wages, which was under commission. So the ice cream dealer would take all the money that we bring in, and we only go home with like $2 or $3 at the end of the day, or $5 if we were lucky. After we sold like $200 and emptied the bike, or sold out the whole bike of ice cream, we only go home with $2 or not even $6 in our pocket. The guy used to rip us off. We were Canadian, and we're born and raised Canadian citizens. And we're working for Dickie D ice cream, right? Driving in the hot sun all day long, and all we do get at the end of the day, after selling all his damn ice cream for him, right, is go home with $6 fucking in the pocket. The guy stole and ripped us off. Even Barbie Swirl did the same thing when the age company that took over the ice cream company. And yet we had to embarrass ourselves driving around a big city in psychedelical hippie colors, right? Driving around an ice cream bike looking like Barbie dolls all fucking day. My pink wig would have came handy then in my dress. But, and at the end of the day, we're only making $4 after selling his whole bike, emptying his whole bike of ice cream and selling his whole ice cream out to the public, right? While he greedily, like Scrooge, takes all the money, and us for driving the bikes. By the time he takes the rental of the bike out, oh yeah, all $1 here, $2 for the bike. Oh yeah, my bike was always in A condition. If there was any damages, that's understandable. But mine wasn't, right? And yet we were all treated equally. We all went home with $5 fucking. Did we actually get a minimum wage or half of the sale money? No, we didn't. Because it wasn't minimum wage. It was commission. Commission means he'll only give you like back like everything you sell out of the bike. You sell out the whole bike, right? You sell $200 worth of ice cream, right? We should have had half of that as our pay. No, he didn't. He drew us right down to $3 to $4 fucking dollars at the end of the fucking day. Because he says, oh, it's on commission. It's not minimum wage. If it had been minimum wage, we would have had rights to claim half of what we worked for on an actually every 2 week seller. And he wouldn't be allowed to keep all that fucking money. He wouldn't be sending us home with just $4 or $5 at the end of the friggin' day. I didn't care if he was a Christian or not. The guy fucking ripped us off. He was a fucking crook. He was a fucking con artist. Every guy that ran that Dickie D bike operation were all fucking crooks and con artists. They were ripping kids off. Every depot was. Every community. I don't know about the one in this one, but probably would have been more reasonable. But Toronto, Niagara Falls, oh yeah, I know they're still around today in Toronto. In the summertime, it's at the ball games and that. And the bigger cities like Toronto, Ottawa. But you got to watch these guys when you let your kids drive for Dickie D ice cream. You watch these fucking guys like a fucking hawk. Sorry for the F-bombs, because they'll fucking steal from you. They'll rip your fucking kid right off. And they set them up to be jumped on the bike for their money, right? That's what goes on in the big cities like Toronto. There's no security safety, and these Dickie D depot managers are not liable for anybody at all. They'll tell you that. They make them sign a waiver form stating they're not liable. They're not responsible what happens out there on the street. The guy in Peterborough was like that, even though one guy was from Niagara Falls, right? But I can't do much about that today, right? And my mom didn't have the brains to go after them then, right? Like she should have. She did. And at 5 years old, I got hit by one of their drivers, right? And then I ended up working for them when I became a teenager. But no, I was just using that as an example. You know, that wasn't even on minimum wage. That was like commission. So if you sold $500 worth of ice cream, right, on returning the bike and he counts up the money, he should at least gave us a minimum wage of that fucking money. Or half of that fucking money. But he didn't. He commissioned it because he put it all under commission. Means he takes all the money after all your hard work, and you don't even get minimum wage, and you go home with only $3 fucking $5 at the end of the fucking night. It's a fucking ripoff. Totally a fucking ripoff. It's probably why a lot of these Dickie D depots are going, and why they went under, or why a lot of them have declared bankruptcy, is because they're ripping too many of their children employees off, right? These guys are crooked. After they're abusing you to pedal a bike around in the hot fucking sun all day. And your ice cream is at risk of melting because the heat, because they're in a freezer bike, but they're on ice packs. Once those ice packs melts and thaws out, the ice cream thaws out. And if that happens, yeah, he comes after you to payment to replace the ice cream. Because on the street, there's no place to plug the thing in. Even though they have the new freezer bikes now that you can plug in, there's no place you can pull up on in a neighborhood or a street where you have access to a plug. Unless now the newer Dickey bikes today might be electrically bought or charged or battery operated. They probably came out with battery operated Dickey bikes now in the newer style of technology. I hope they did, right? But again, that battery itself can explode in the heat. If it's not in the shady part of the bike, but you can electrically charge it or plug it in, right? And it'll keep everything well frozen while you're on the street. But in our day and age, no, the Dickey bikes were against health regulations or violations because they were all in ice packs. There was no fancy plug-in electrical gadgets that you could charge them up. Or pull up to a store and plug it in their socket, or pull up to a gas station and plug it into a light or electrical socket, right? Or a coffee shop for a while, plug it into a socket. Dickey bikes, you couldn't do that then. You probably can with the newer ones today if it's still around. The big cities have got the newer ones where they actually plug in that operates on electronic battery, like your cell phone. You just have to plug it in, right? And it keeps everything nice and frozen, and so you can sell, sing your merry way down the street. Where in our day and age, we had nothing this electronical. So, like, if we were sitting in front of and besides, for a Dickey vendor to sit in front of a coffee shop, coffee shops don't like it because if they sell ice cream, yeah, you're violating in 100 feet of their business, right? They're going to get angry. They're going to get pissed off. Or you're sitting in front of Dairy Queen or, let's say, Frosty Freeze down here. They get fucking pissed off. Because you're in, sorry for the up-bumps, you're in 100 feet range of them. Of their business. But you actually have to sit somewhere like, if they're still around today, someplace like a public parking lot that has the actual plug outlets to charge up these electrical devices now. If they're on the new, if the new Dickey bikes are made out of them now, then you've got it good. You don't have any chance of your ice cream shouldn't be melting. But our day and age, when we were growing up in the 1990s, yes, it was only an ice pack, so an ice pack would thaw out very quickly. Which we would have been, where we were always held responsible for, but it's not our fault. We're paddling around, we're selling ice cream, right? And the ice packs thaw out, right? We can't help that. We can't control that because they didn't have the digital electronical system that we have today that you can plug into a wall, right? Charge your battery up. They were the thing then on the bikes. Today, the newer Dickey bikes, I don't know if I've ever seen them. Okay, but if you've ever seen them, there'll be a battery pack under the glove compartment, which is the shady part of it, bolted down there. That's wired to the bike. That operates the freezer and on and off switch. And then there's a charger plug that plugs into the battery that can plug into the wall. Charge up your battery. To operate your freezer on the bike. But that's why I said I just wanted to share the difference from when I grew up as a kid, or my teenage years, from that generation to the way this generation is today. How things are easier, how things are more digital today, right? Or has more digital controlling today on stuff we didn't have control over when I was a kid. And they say, well, you could sit the bike under a tree. What trees back then? Every time I had a favorite tree to sit my dickety bike under, right, for people to come up to buy from, they sit under the tree, they come up and buy from it. The city would cut the fucking tree down before I even got there and leave me with no damn shade. Same with the Peterborough Lex. Oh, the tree I would sit under for shade? Oh, yeah. A car show would pull in there. Or the weenie vendor the wiener vendor would show up in there. Take my fucking spot. Or they cut the trees down and leave me with no shade. Here I am selling a bike full of ice cream, right? Why does the weenie vendor have to be under shades to be shaded? Well, yeah, I can understand. He's got a hot with the heat. He's got a hot barbecue, right? I guess he gets. I can give him that one. But here I'm driving a bike full of ice cream that can melt. So if you look at the both science end of it, yeah, hot barbecue can blow up in the heat, right? Where a bicycle full of ice cream can melt. Both ways, you don't win. So yes, I had to fight for my spot against a wiener vendor. Wasn't fun. You have Dickie D ice cream, right? I used to have my spot, and all this wiener vendor guy would always take my fucking spot. So you put it that way. Always shoot. You could never win. Never win. Is it he was more wanting the shade for the barbecue, or was it because he was like my ice cream bike in the spot where I used to make the money for the Dickie D company, right? It's all in the ice cream because it was a good customer, hot paying spot. That's why myself, I've always hated wiener vendors, okay? Because they're a pain in my butt. I never got along with them. This is probably even like I know I live in Wyoming now, but that's probably why I'm an optimist. Does the wiener fundraiser, the hot dog fundraiser at Foodland, right? That's why I'm not there buying wieners or hot dogs, right? Just because I've always had a bad experience with the wiener vendors in the big city, because I used to be a Dickie D vendor. Holy jumpins! They used to insult me and piss me off. Steal my spot. I've never forgiven them for that. I'll tell you. That's why I guess that's why I don't like the wiener vendors. I never did. But nowadays, I don't do those little commission jobs anymore. So I guess it's time to forgive them. I'll tell you. Even though my whole life as a teenager, I always had bad experience with them on my corner. They were in my spot. I can say that because I used to be an ice cream vendor with Dickie D, right? I used to drive the Dickie D bike around. And these wiener vendors would take my damn spot. I'll tell you. And they sit there and they freaking laugh at me, right? Because they were the first ones there. They're being what they wiener vendors always are. They're a bunch of dicks. Oh, but anyhow, I'm not going to go there. But that's my bad experience with wiener vendors. Why I never liked them. Because I used to be their competition. I used to sell ice cream. They always used to take my spot on the street. In my corner. Well, I used to park and sit. They would illegally park their ass, and half these wiener vendors are all illegal immigrants to begin with. Anyways, that didn't change much. I'll tell you. Because they don't speak them English, okay? But they act dumb and stupid. It used to make me laugh. Totally. But those are, I have to say, those are my teenage experiences from when I was a teenager. I'll tell you. But nowadays, because I don't live in Peterborough anymore, I can't drive an ice cream bike anymore or a bike anymore, right? Well, with my arthritis, it's probably good if I do, but I live in an apartment building, so I can't have a bike here. Um, no place to keep it. People just tamper with it. But that's probably why I got out of that. But, you know, I was just using that as an example, but not saying that's not good exercise for the spine and the legs. Would calm my arthritis down a bit, but I live in an apartment building, right? Where would I keep a bike, right? You can't lock it up on a tenant anywhere. Or people steal the seats, they steal the wheels, or they steal the, or they'll tamper with the bike, right? Or the bike will go missing. Um, really, no place to keep it. It's not like I'm living in a place where I'm in a garage. It has a garage or anything. That's on street level. Um, for me to ever have anything like that, but I guess those are my comedy days from my childhood. There's lots of comedy days I had when I was a teenager. I could share with you guys at some point. Put into that I put into it for years, but nowadays put into comedy routine. The things I remember I went through, right? In my childhood, teenagers, that make you laugh. I'll tell you. But that's our time for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning on in. Have an awesome day. Bye for now.